All right, there you go, Glamour Profession. You may recognize the music. That is Steely Dan. A couple of big hits right there. And coming up this Friday, they are going to be performing the best of Steely Dan. With us right now in studio is the amazing David Bolton, who is basically Donald Fagen, right?
That's the role that I'm playing. Singing his stuff and playing.
And doing it amazing justice.
Thank you, Dylan.
Amazing justice.
Really appreciate that. We really do try to keep it as close to the way they play live on stage as we possibly can.
Yeah. Well, and Mike Staples is here as well. So Walter Becker and a cast of others. Basically, you're covering those roles.
Yeah, there's a number of guitar players that have rolled over many of those tracks. So,
yeah,
trying to do justice to that.
Yeah. So tell us about Glamour Profession then. You guys have musically in the city. I've been around for quite some time performing. When did we put this band together?
Okay, well, Mike and I got started on this about 3 years ago. And just the two of us, Mike's basement, working on some Steely Dan tunes and pulled them together very slowly. And as we went, we realized, well, we've got a great sound here. We'll start adding other musicians. And between us, we started adding and adding and adding. And it took us a year and a half before we were actually pulled together enough to have a performance ready. So it was a year and a half in the making. It's a lot of work.
Well, it's got to be a lot of work because I was at the last one you had at the Shenkman Arts Center. And so you last time did a full album of the band, correct?
Correct.
And then of greatest hits in the second part.
That's right. Yep, exactly. We played the album Asia.
Yeah.
Which is, one of Steely Dan's probably most critically acclaimed albums. And then we did their greatest hits in the second half. So it's a lot of material to cover.
That is a lot. Mike, I mean, it's got to be difficult too, because you're not just playing the hits, you're playing some stuff that, not obscure stuff, but stuff you'd have to be a real fan to know, and you're playing it note by note, which is incredible. That's a lot of work.
Yes, and actually, even their live performances, they don't do it note to note. They elaborate on the material, and we do that as well, but in some cases, yes, it's note for note.
Yeah, the signature lines you'll recognize, but a lot of the solos and so on are improvised. That's because Steely Dan music is a mixture of, real rock and roll plus jazz.
Yeah.
And so they improvise over the solo parts, and that's what we'll be doing. And we have great players that do that for us. Guys who've played with Aretha Franklin and the Temptations and the Funk Brothers. The horn players are touring session musicians. So
how did you get these people involved?
Well, Ottawa has an amazing group of professional musicians. We're very lucky here in Ottawa, and I just knew them through the music community. And as soon as they heard we were on this project, they were all over it. They're thrilled. To do this.
I'm not sure if I even asked you why Steely Dan. Now, either one of you can answer this. I mean, because there's so many amazing classic bands out there.
What do you think, Mike?
Well, it's actually Dave who said to me when we were getting together in my basement to go for just a jam. He said, "I always dreamed of having a band that covered Steely Dan's material," and so I basically said, "Well, we're in our latter years, and if we don't do it now, we probably never will." And that was about 3 years ago. And so we said, well, let's go for it. And I always loved the material. I found it was to be very challenging. So for us, it looked like a great project and something that even our own skills would be honed and developed through the process.
Yeah, the guitar player for Steely Dan is considered to be the greatest most desirable guitar position in all of rock music. So he gets to do that.
Does that put pressure on you then, or is that a good thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I was the last one. So this is the fourth one that you guys are doing. Steely Dan music.
Yeah.
And what I love about this show is you give stories behind most of the tunes.
Absolutely. Yeah. We try to tell. That's a key part of it. Is that this is an homage to Steely Dan, and we tell stories about the music, the songs, and some stories about how their lives of Donald Fagen and Walter Becker tie into the songs. So that keeps things very interesting. And a lot of people come out of there saying that they really learned a lot, and that it changes the way they hear the music now. That gives them a deeper appreciation for what the songs mean.
I love that, because you hear a song and you think you know it, and then when you hear an actual story behind it, it's really fun to put all the pieces together.
Yeah, your own piece plus what it means to them. It's really, you're right, Dylan, that's a fun thing, and that's what we try to do.
So gigantic catalog, and they're still touring today too.
They're still touring. They're in Vegas right now, and they'll be touring for the whole summer. And Donald Fagen, in fact, is doing a tour later in the fall. and on his own. So
Yeah.
they're still around. They're still creating music. They're prolific and highly regarded in the world of music. Yeah.
Well, we don't have to go on a road trip to see them when this is happening. A bit of a road trip for some, maybe, if you live in Canada to go to Orleans.
Yeah, maybe.
That's fair enough. But you guys...
20 minutes.
I mean, but honestly, I sat in the crowd last time and I closed my eyes, and it was like, and I'm not just saying this because you're friends, but it was like being in a Steely Dan concert. It was
Thank you,
great.
Dylan.
It was well put together.
Yeah, that's what we try to do. We actually build arrangements. We have an arranger in Los Angeles that we work with who builds the arrangements based on what Steely Dan would do live. So it's very close.
Your favorite song? Just pick one each of your Steely Dan.
My favorite song is Glamour Profession.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. You dropped the title of your band there, by the way. That was
That's right. That's right.
How clever.
And mine's actually Don't Take Me Alive.
Yeah, okay. So songs that aren't as big a
Popular.
radio hits.
That's right.
And I think sometimes that's the true sign of a fan, when you like the stuff that isn't maybe overplayed on radios.
That's right,
And,
yeah.
and that's okay. So this upcoming Friday, 8 o'clock, Schenkman Arts Center. Simple as that.
Absolutely. That's it, Dylan.
Glamour,
Thank you.
Glamour Profession, the best of Steely Dan, and 8 o'clock we get our tickets through Schenkman Arts Center's box office.
That's right. That's where you can pick them up.
And for more details on the band, glamourprofession.ca. Simple as that. Thank you very much, Mike and David, for being here.
Thank you, Dylan.
Today. A Spanish-themed wine and food night. That sounds like a lot of fun. It's happening Wednesday. We've got details next on Daytime Ottawa.